Being that my Framer course is almost finished, I'm going to start uploading some videos where I use Framer to refactor sections of students' websites. Now take this section on a landing page, engage your visitors. Well, what if we used Framer to really create a more unique approach to this concept of engaging visitors? What if we made a hover-based experience for desktop where we really engage the visitors in some unique way, shape, or form? Well, Framer makes this sort of thing really quick and easy to create really cool and interactive experiences without touching code. So let's get started. If you enjoyed this video, check out designcourse.com where you can learn UI, UX, CSS, and more with my custom interactive platform that makes learning fun and easy. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is get a background that's going on. So this is pretty much very similar to the background that they have going here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a layout. Typically do this on the frame, and I'm going to make this, it'll be start, center line, that's fine. And then I want to hit the F key for the frame. We're going to have 3 different 100 viewport height sections here. So the middle section will be where our design is. And because this is kind of a scroll-based thing, that's why we're going to have a section above and beneath it that's simply empty, just for this demonstration. So for the height, we're going to do 100 VH for viewport height. We'll get rid of this background color. And I'll just take the frame and just duplicate that 3 times, or 2 times rather, so you have a total of 3. And then we take our height of our main frame and hit fit content. So now we have just this big area right here, and we're going to work inside this area so that we can simulate what happens when you scroll past, you know, and beneath it and above it, all that good stuff. So the very first thing I'm going to do is add a frame at the top because there's a little bit of a header, and that is for this section right there. We deliver the best experiences, and then this right here. So we're just going to include that part of the design. And really, it's a 2-column layout, so we're going to add a layout here. So we're going to specify start here for distribution, and then we're going to have 2 elements inside of it, so type-based elements. So the first is going to be, we deliver the best experiences, like that. We're going to make it white, of course, and make it a bit larger. And I'm also going to duplicate that and just copy and paste this element right here, like that. Okay, so now you can see it's all messed up, and we just need to adjust the size here. So I'll probably scale this down to like around 16. I'm going to hit a space after this. There we go. And then this, we're going to do a space between for the distribution. And then for the width of the overall container, we'll say a width of like 85%. And this as well, let's change our frame to give this a layout. And the distribution is going to be start. All right, there we go. That's a lot better. And then we'll take our stack here again, and we need to add, well, let's see here. How will we want to do this? If I was doing space between, that's one way. Yeah, so what I think I'll do is we'll give this explicit width instead of auto. And so I'll change this to like 1 FR, and then this one, actually this kind of works well already. I want to align this to the baseline. There we go. So let's see how this responds responsively. I'm going to grab this. All right, so now because this is set at fit and the other one's not, that's why this is occurring here. This is staying the same size. So really, we could take this element, instead of doing fit, we could do like 3 fractional units, like that. And in this case, we can now just go back and it'll automatically wrap that based on the available width. All right, and you don't want these getting too close together. So what I could do is I could duplicate this piece of text, or rather, we could just do a frame in between these elements, and it could be just like an empty element. And then that can just give us a temporary amount of white space between those elements. Okay, so I'm not too concerned about this part. I did want to include it real quickly. So now we have our stack inside. I'm just going to replicate this or duplicate this stack, and then just gut everything inside of it, meaning we're going to delete it all. And then in this stack alone is going to be the white container. All right, so we're going to give this a fill of white, and we'll go ahead and adjust for the border radius. We're going to create just slight rounded borders here. Alrighty, and let's take this stack and give ourselves some white space. There we go. All right, so far so good. I think that's a little bit too much for the rounded corners, so let's readjust that real quick. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is it's going to be like a 3-column layout, and so we're going to give this does already have a layout in it, so I'm just going to hit F for frame and drag out this element, and this is just going to be 1 fractional unit, so it's going to consume the whole thing because we only have 2 at the moment, or 1. But if I duplicate this, you'll see we now have 3 like this, so we can get rid of the fill, and I'm going to go ahead inside of it and put some type. So engage your visitors. That's what I'm going to do. This is my creative idea to reshape this. So engage, and we can't see it because it's white on white. So actually I'm going to use the background color here. All right, and I'm also going to use a specific typeface. If I come down here from enter, let's see here. I wish I was able to use my keyboard keys to make these larger, but that's okay. Or so that I could just real quickly go through these instead of having to manually click. Hopefully that's something that they can. I think we'll just use this. Engage. We'll put a period. There we go. All right. So here we have engage. We're going to wrap this in a frame. Actually, we don't have to wrap it in a frame. I was going to wrap it in a frame so that we can have it kind of come from nowhere with overflow hidden, but that's not a big deal. We'll just leave it like this. And another thing I want to do is for the frame itself, I want to give it a border. So under border over here, if I select all the corner options, we don't want a border on the top, bottom, or left, but we do want one on the right. And that color for that will be this color right there. There we go. So now I'm going to delete the other 2 frames. And let's duplicate this. There we go. Engage your audience. Yeah, something like that. And so that's the basic design of what it would look like by default when you're scrolling down. And then we're going to have like a hover sort of effect or feature on this. And when we're scrolling down, we're going to adjust this whole overall container with a perspective, 3D perspective scroll animation, essentially. So I think maybe just we could switch gears and do that real quick. So if we take this this stack right here and we come down under effects and we add a scroll animation, then we could do a layer in view, replay yes, fade in. It's actually going to be slide in bottom, and if we hit play, you'll see how this works. It slides in like that. So I mean, you could see based on theirs, they kind of have something similar. It's a scale in opacity fade. So I don't like that. I want to adjust this perhaps even more so. Now we have layer in view. Trying to think. Yeah, let's click on this. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll leave opacity 1 for the enter. We're going to change 3D, and I think it's the X value that we'll adjust. There we go. It's like right around there, around 43 or so. And then we're going to come out, and under styles, we're going to add perspective. These 2 properties, like these 3D transforms and perspective, work hand in hand if you really want to see that. There you go. So now it's kind of laying down. So that's why you want to add perspective right there. So now the transition, the spring type, I'm just going to use ease, maybe at like 0.6 or so. And let's see what this looks like. So we're going to scroll down. That's pretty cool. I like it. All right. So now that we have that, we can now start to think about, all right, how do we basically structure this so that on hover, when somebody hovers over one of these 3 cards, we can do something. We can change the background. We can create some sort of interesting way to engage the audience. And that's what we're doing. We're speaking to what's happening or what's being said. Instead of just doing engage your visitors, a typical, title, subhead, call to action with a generic graphic, we're going to actually engage them and show them how we can engage them. The different cool ways and techniques we can engage a visitor. So, in order to achieve this, what we'll do is for engage, for this frame, we need to have a position absolute element inside of this frame. So I'm going to hit F. And now it's wrapping around engage. We don't want that. I'm just going to take frame itself. We could see it's underneath, and it is position absolute. I'm going to change this to 100% and 100% for the height and all that good stuff. And by default, we're not going to have it, we're not going to give it a fill. So it won't have a fill. And now what we could do is we could take this and create a component. So I'll call this engage, hit create. Alrighty, and now that we have that position absolute element, inside of it we can specify something like, for instance, under their creative section, I'm trying to remember, is this, oh, okay. If we go to framer.supply, it's not over there, it's under framer.supply, there's some components that we can use. One of them is a particle component where you can make any element be some type of cool thing. So if we hit copy, and I go back to engage and we just click and paste, you can see inside of our frame we have this element here. So what I'll do is just put 100% and 100%. Make sure everything's evened up, so put 0 up here, 0, 0. Get this centered. There we go. And this is what this will look like. So if we hit play over here, you can kind of see what's happening, but we don't want that by default. We only want that on hover. And I also want to change the colors as well. So what's cool is about this, you can control all this information, like the fill, or rather we select this, we come down here, here's all the information that we can adjust. So I'm going to grab the background color. That's why I'm coming back out of here. Let's see here. Oopsie. And we're going to grab that. We're going to go back into the component view. And I'm going to select particles and change the background color to slightly darker, kind of like that. And now if I hit play, we'll see what this looks like. Engage would need to be changed to white. Now again, this is just going to be on hover. So what I'll do is I'm going to just take an opacity and put it down to 0. And then we're going to do a hover. All right, and on the hover section, we'll bring back our particles to 100% opacity. And then we'll also change this to white, the text, so that it contrasts well. So now, if we hit play, we hover over it, look at that. Very cool. Okay. Okay, so now that we have that one done, it's basically a matter of just recreating this, and this time, instead of doing particles, maybe we'll do like a 3JS kind of cool thing inside of it. So what I would personally do, I'm just going to delete these two. I'm going to replicate this and just detach the instance, and then right-click, create component, and we'll just call this your. Now, there's probably a better way to do this with variables and stuff, but this is a quick and easy way of doing this. So we have your right here. This element, the particles element, that should be, oh, this is particles. So we're going to actually end up deleting this anyway. Yeah, let's just delete that. And I'm going to go over to 3JS, I mean, not 3JS, spline.design. I'm getting my technologies mixed up. And I'm going to go to this one. So if I go to community, I found this one right here in community. So if I open a new tab, that'll be there. But to find these cool things, we just go to community section on Spline, and you can do a search for like orb like if you're looking for some type of orb or something, and there's a bunch of options. These are all things that you can freely use and integrate into your project. So this one I thought was cool, and what we can do is if I hit play, you'll kind of see what it looks like. Very cool. And what I could do is we can hit export, go to play settings. We don't want a background color. We don't want a page scroll. Cursor's fine. We have no. We'll leave soft orbit on. You'll see how that interacts with the mouse position. And hit update public URL and then copy the link. Now we're going to go back to our design and we're going to go to insert, utility, and embed. Okay, so now we paste that URL right here in the property section, and now we see our orb. Okay, now one thing, if I go back here, the play settings, logo, let's choose no, and then just go back and update the public URL. And then when we refresh back in our spline, this will go away, this little built with spline thing. So now we need to get this inside of our frame. So I'm just going to put it in the frame over here. And now it's a matter of getting this at 100%. 100% here for the height as well. And also make sure everything is set to 0 here and centered. Great. So now let's just go ahead and do the same thing. Opacity is 0. We're going to do a hover state. Here's our hover. We get back into our embed, put it at 1. Change your to white because that needs to contrast better as well. And let's see what happens here. So just with our 2, okay, so we want to change the background. We want to hide that. So let's also fix that width issue here. So this needs to be 100% and 100%. There we go. And then we'll go back here on this one and okay, so let me think here. I don't think we included the background. So the stack itself has the background. So if I take off that, then those, we're going to have to add the background. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. You know what? Let's go back. And I think what I can do is simply add a background here under fill. And then yeah, I'll just grab the color here. I should, you know, technically you want to put that in like color variables and be easier to access it, but either way, no big deal. It's just a quick demonstration. Let's hit play and see what that looks like. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so now we could take your and just duplicate that, right click, detach the instance and visitors. We'll change that. And then we'll take your, create the component, and this is going to be visitors. All right, so for visitors, if we go back to spline, there was a, yeah, we could maybe do an interesting, another particle effect, except in like 3JS. If I just type in particle, and when I say 3JS, I mean spline design. Spline utilizes 3JS, so that's why I keep on saying that. So these are really cool, you know, awesome, crazy looking like particle-based systems. Now, of course, you don't want to use something that's going to be too crazy in terms of being, you know, laggy and not performant. But there was one that I found yesterday that I've seen before. Oh, it's this one right here. That works. It's pretty interesting. If I click this, you'll see kind of the concept behind it. So if you click remix, we can get in there and we click export, play settings, no logo, no background color, no page scroll. Cursor can be none or just default. And then all this stuff will hit no except for soft orbit, and then update the public URL, copy the link. We'll go back into Framer. And this is the point where we just get rid of the embed, and then we'll paste in, oh, we can't paste that in, sorry. We have to insert the utility of embed, paste in that URL there, and then get this into the frame. And then of course, grab it. Oh no, I can't grab it because it's outside the frame. Well, what we could do is just this, 0, 0, 0, and 0, and center. There we go. So now we have this situation. And what I could do is 100%, 100%, Okay. Now, of course, the background is going to be white here, but we're going to take the opacity down to 0, create a hover state. Hover. All right, and we're going to give this one a background as well. So the fill, again, let's grab this color code there, and we'll paste it there. And then we'll bring back the opacity of the embed. And then change this to white as well. All right, so let's see what this looks like in action. Now I want to get rid of this little white border there, so we'll take a look at that. Now if I hit refresh, I think this built with spline thing should go away. Oh, well, sometimes it's a little bit finicky. To remove that, again, you just go up to the settings, the export settings. All right, so taking a look at this. Kind of really can't see this one too well, but it looks interesting. Now you could take this a step further now if you wanted to. So we have these, if we look at our layer structure, we have these components inside of here, inside of this white element. And what we could do is add a scroll effect on those as well. So if we do scroll animation, layer in view, that could work. Fade in. We could do slide in bottom, and let's just see what that looks like when we kind of scroll down. Notice how it slides in. It's very subtle, but you could see it moving from the top. And you'll see the same thing, reverse, it slides in. So that's pretty fun. And what you could do is just right click and copy that, and then go to your, paste that in. You do the same thing with visitors, paste that in as well. And right now they're all going to come in at the same time. Now if you didn't want that to happen, you could click on these for the enter, change spring, delay about like a 0.1. Click on this one and change the delay to like 0.2, so it becomes like a stagger animation. So now they're coming up sequentially. And if you wanted them to be slower, we can come over here. Oopsie, not the exit effect. The enter effect could be changed. Well, we could change it to an easing type, and in that case, it would allow us to specify time instead. So if we do something like this, and then we increase the time to like 0.6, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it comes in slower. I actually like that better. So what I'll do is just copy this. We'll delete that one. We'll paste this over here. And this time we'll adjust the 0.6, I think, is what we used, and a delay of 0.1. All right, so now we'll copy, and then we'll take this as well. We'll delete that, and then paste. Scroll animation. And this will be 0.2. Let's see what this looks like. Ah, that's nice. So what I can do now is, looking at this, trying to think, I wanted to do something extra. One more thing. What was I was going to do something. Here, let me click play. Oh, I know what. So if I go over and I type in Framer smooth scroll component, we can grab this from Framer University, copy the component, and this will give you the easiest way to integrate smooth scroll, which I like integrating. You can just take the desktop frame right here and just paste in smooth scroll. It doesn't matter where it's at. You can just, I just put it at the top. And now if we hit play and we use our mouse scroll wheel, we have that nice kind of locomotive smooth scrolling effect. And that is what we essentially have. So expanding this a bit. Now if we compare that just to the original, this is the original. And here, let's do a publish so we can really see it without all the controls. Let me go back there. Publish, update. There we go. You could also do a max width on here. But that's it. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. As you can see, Framer is really powerful at creating obviously some advanced animations. And if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely check out my course From Figma to Framer. I'll see you soon and goodbye.